Hi, it's Sam here. Trust you're well and having a good week. Over the recent weeks, we've been looking at a mini series on the looking parables, looking at the father who is on the look. And we looked at the prodigal son parable, which is the son that squanders his inheritance, and the father is on the look out for him to return. And when he returns, he receives the robe of righteousness, a ring of authority, and shoes to say that you're still my son. That beautiful picture of grace. We then looked at the landowner who is on the lookout for workers in his vineyard, and when he finds the workers, he pays them the same reward, regardless of the workers that started in the morning, in the midday, and those that just worked for an hour, in this beautiful but yet scandalous picture of grace. We looked at the man who bumps into the field and finds the treasure. He sells everything to buy the field, and he gains the treasure as well. The treasure that cost him nothing. The field he had to pay for. So the field cost him everything, but the treasure cost him nothing. Just beautiful. And we looked at the merchant who is on the lookout for fine pearl. And when he finds the fine pearl, he sells everything for the fine pearl. It's a valuable pearl, and that pearl is us. And that's the cost that the Father has paid for us, despite him slightly imperfect, slightly tarnished, but the cost that the Father's willing to pay for us as the fine pearl, just absolutely beautiful. And this week we switched it up a little bit, and we turned it from rather than the Father looking to us on the look, us on the lookout for one another. And we used the well-known parable of the Good Samaritan in this story. It's just absolutely beautiful. And there was 4 key areas that we looked at. And the first one was that love looks for the one. And it's been great to see so many of the ways that we have been able to look out for each other during these last 18 months of one lockdown to another lockdown. And maybe in our house groups, we can talk about those ways that we've been able to look after our neighbours, our friends, our family, and our colleagues, those in our workplaces as well. Maybe we've started new initiatives and new ideas that we might want to continue post-lockdown as well. In this story, Jesus uses a priest, a Levite, and a Samaritan to draw out the points he's making around loving our neighbour. And again, we can just spend some time just talking about what does that look like, what does that feel like, and what's that been like in the last 18 months as well. We know that looking out for each other costs. So second area we looked at was around love costs. Certainly does cost. It costs a Samaritan time, money, resources, effort, inconvenience. And maybe we can look at some of the ways that by looking out for one another over these last months or so, it's cost us, but it's a cost that we're willing to pay, and that reflects something of the heart of God. We know that love risks, and that was the third area that we looked at. We know that sometimes to look out for the one, it risks, and it certainly did risk the Samaritan. It risked him potentially of his reputation. It risked him in putting himself in a difficult position as well. But love truly does risk as well, and we can look through maybe the last 18 months what the risks that we've taken in order to look out for the one. And the final area we looked at was that love looks out after their neighbour. In this parable, the expert of the law asked Jesus, what does my neighbour look like, or who is my neighbour? And Jesus then goes on to tell this parable. And I wonder, we can look through what does loving our neighbour look like? What does loving God with all of our heart, mind, soul, and strength look like? And what does it look like in terms of loving our neighbour? I know so many people have done so many great things over the last 18 months and beyond that to look out for each other. Bless you as you talk through this parable. Have a great time and have a blessed week. Speak to you soon. Cheers.